Hi, I'm Lucinda Green, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to help you a little bit with tips on getting horses ready for the event season. Now it's really on us. You can't start just yet if you haven't already toiled through those cold winter months doing your slow work for 4 to 6 weeks. Road work if you possibly can. We're not great walker fans because we feel if you put a 15-metre half circle down on a bit of concrete, you would not walk your horse round and round and round in 15 metres. So we don't think probably it does the ankles much good. So we are lucky enough to have roads that aren't too dangerous. So we try and do a lot of road work when the horses aren't yet really legged up. They've just been out for maybe 2 or 3 months. And then we'll move that into gentle hacks. So we start a little bit of trotting on the roads up the hills while the ground is still absolutely level. And then we hope all the ligaments are starting to strengthen and we can start going for hacks on the most glorious downs that we're so lucky to have. And at the same time, we've got to be thinking about the feed. We don't want to start with them too bumptious or we'll all end up with sore bottoms. So they're going to be on some sort of low energy feed. And this is where I find, and Lissa finds, pure feed so incredibly helpful because they will have a potion for every type of horse and for every type of work that he's doing. So as you start to move into your hacking and a little bit more energy after the first week of bucking and kicking, you might need to then change the feed a little bit. But be careful, they don't often need to go to high energy feed just because they're doing more work. People make a lot of mistakes by saying, oh, I'm now getting ready for a novice event, I must have higher energy feed. So be careful, it's not always necessary. Every horse is different, like every person is different. You handle every person you meet in a different way. You handle every horse in a different way and how you feed it. But pure feeds will be very helpful and has plenty of different choices. So then really, if you're pinpointing an event to attend, you probably want to have been going for 10, 12 weeks before it, depending on how high the level is. And during the time that you spend in the last 4 weeks or so, you can start going to your little show jumping competitions because you've already been building up your jumping at home and little cross-country practices. And even sometimes you can get to an event the day after it's happened and run around a little bit of their course at a time, then have a think about how it's going, then run around a little bit more. But I'm not a great fan of just doing individual fences cross-country. I think they need to run and do 6, 8, 10 fences and get into the rhythm of it. So that's useful if you can find some practice to do that. Remember, cross-country is an incredibly important part. It's a third of the whole event. But because you see yourself losing by a point in the dressage or a show jump down, you might be tempted to study those 2 phases more. But don't forget which is the dangerous one. And the reason it's dangerous is because the horses aren't given enough practice, and much more importantly, riders don't really understand there's an art and a science to be learnt on cross country just as there is in dressage and show jumping. And for me, that's what makes the world go round. I would not do eventing if it didn't have cross country. So hopefully that helps you get from 0 from 2 or 3 months out to maybe 10, 12 weeks down the road to your first event. All the time wanting to feel that your horse is wanting to get out there and jump those fences. And if he isn't, then sometimes you need to take a blood test or something. They can just go a little bit off and they may be a little bit anemic or something. So just be aware. Sometimes they just get bored of not having gone to a party and stuck in the schooling and jumping, and take them out and they're absolutely on top of the world and you haven't got to worry. But just consider having a blood test pattern taken of them when they are normally happy and well, so that you've got something to refer to if you think they're not. There's a lot of stuff out there that can get in to the horse's system and make his blood just not as good as it should be. So good luck, have lots of fun. Lisa and I hope to have the same. We'll all hit the ground at some point, I expect, but that's part of the nature of horses and riding. We know that. Have a good time.